All right, hello, welcome. My name is John Huthmaker, also known as Huth Solo. I am one of the partners at Digital Syndicate. My partner and Eddie, I put that company together to really start some of our NFT projects that we had been talking about. But one of our big projects that we also do is the CNFT Hub. And I'm here to talk to you today a little bit about that. So Eddie and I met at the very beginning of this year. We both were operating stake pools. We met through some help groups where, if you have different questions about running a stake pool, there's people that are willing to help. And so we met through those channels and, became friends. And eventually, once the Merry era started, we decided to start working on NFTs. They seemed very interesting and, we saw a lot of potential there. One thing we also saw, though, was that there wasn't a lot of great information about NFTs or really just in Cardano in general. It was so new that there just wasn't much information. I mean, at this point, the Shelley era wasn't even a year old yet, which meant that staking Cardano was, about 6 months old at that point. So a lot of groundbreaking to do. We decided to start CNFT Hub as a way of collecting information and making it available to people. And it's come a long way since we first started it. Yeah, this is going to be the first of many videos. This is really just an introduction to what is CNFT Hub. Coming out soon, I'll be doing some videos on, what is a wallet, the different kinds of wallets. There's several. There's hardware and software, but then between those, there's different categories. So I'll go over those. What is staking, which is very important. That's really one of the most important reasons to use a proof of stake blockchain like Cardano. What's an NFT? What purpose do they serve? How do you buy one? How do you mint one? Stuff like that. So I'll cover that in a video. And then probably at some point we'll do some technical videos, for those who are really interested in like stake pool operation or really, back end stuff on how to work directly with Cardano node. And then of course the sky's the limit. We'll probably do a lot of other videos. I already have some interviews set up. In fact, our first interview is coming up here at the end of this week. We're going to be interviewing Genesis Mint House, which is one of the new marketplaces, specifically that uses the 777 standard and runs with smart contracts, which is, they're really the first ones I know that are doing both of those things combined. So you're going to be interviewing those people at the end of this week. So let's talk a little bit about CNFT Hub. CNFT Hub is a website that was put together again. It's a collection of what we consider to be some of the most useful information going on real time in Cardano. Every time we see something of interest or of value, we will create an article about it. And then we also, and really probably one of the most useful aspects of it is our event calendar. We have people that log in, add their NFT events to the calendar. It's all self-service, which I'll show you. And then, on top of that, we collect information from like the big ongoings, the latest, Cardano events. Like currently we have Catalyst Fund 7 going on. So the different, calls for that and different meetups. When Summit was taking place, the Summit was listed on the calendar. When CNFT Con was going on, that was on the calendar. So yeah, let me take a look, or let me show you guys. Also, before I get started, the one thing I wanted to mention is that we were funded in Catalyst Fund 6. And specifically, we were funded to add multiple language support to the site. And this has been quite useful. Well, more than quite useful. This has been quite useful to everyone. We've made it so that the hub is now available to really people of every language. Everything's automatically translated real time. So yeah, if you add a new drop to the calendar, that information is immediately available to people in all the different languages. And I'm going to show you guys that. I'm going to show you a demonstration of that. So let's get underway. Okay, my screen should be visible. I'm going to try not to jump around too fast because sometimes there's refresh issues when you're doing screen sharing and desktop recording. But this, obviously we're looking at google.com, but I'm going to go ahead and go to cnfthub.io. And this is, of course, the main page. Top of the screen here, we have our logo, current date. This is pulled in from UTC time, which is what the blockchain runs off of. So really trying to adopt those standards. That's what you'll see at the top of the screen. And then, there's a whole host of stuff available on our menu, and I'll go over that in a second. But if you look at the main page, the first section is going to be the latest articles that we have put into the CNFT Hub. Just earlier today, I added the Project Cosmos article, which talks about the NFT project that's going to take Cardano NFTs into space, which is super rad. Obviously high interest. This Shockwaves NFT is about, it's a team of people that are working together to clean up the ocean. We thought that was pretty awesome. So anything that's up here on this top spot is really the latest articles that have been placed into this website. And then, of course, we have different sections. We have featured articles. We have community spotlight. We have a little bit of advertising available on the page. Right now, I have Veritree and then Cardano Lotto listed as advertisements. And then, a section specifically for drops and so on and so forth. Coming soon, which is actually going to be coming pretty much immediately following me recording this video, is a section. Where did it go? Oh, it's not showing because there's nothing in there. There will be a section added down here, might be right around here or so. It's going to have all of the YouTube content that we're going to be putting together. Again, those videos I talked about that are going to be coming up along with this video, and then all the future videos. And I expect there to be quite a few, as time progresses. So that'll be available real time on the front page as well. Of course, you'll be able to get it directly off YouTube if you so choose. So let's take a look at the menu bar. I'll go over the calendar at the end because that's really, there's a lot there. So I want to show that in detail. But if you were interested in minting NFTs, where can you go? These are people that have already set up shop. Now, anybody could mint an NFT if they install a Cardano node and really apprise themselves of the process to doing that. But these people have done these things, and they can help you if you're not technical or aren't interested in trying to get into the bottom of the technical aspects of Cardano node. So again, all these people can create NFTs for you if you are interested in making one. So there's Digital Syndicate, that's us, Minter, NFT Maker, Mint House, Metro Mermaids. And of course, if you are one of these services and you'd like to be listed here, please shoot us an email and I'll be happy to add you. The marketplaces that we're aware of, there's Token, there's CNFT.io, Lovelace Marketplace, Artano, Levada. So again, if you're looking for secondary sales, and even people who are smaller NFT projects that don't have their own web page, a lot of times they will mint their assets specifically to sell it in these marketplaces. So it may be the only place you can find them for sale. Some tools to find out, the rarities of different tokens. These are all paid services, so not every project is listed on them, but the ones that have chosen to, you can find their information here. Again, if there's ones I'm missing, please send me an email. I'll be happy to add them, because obviously this video is most likely going to be viewed in the future, and there's probably going to be a lot of changes up here as time goes on. Top projects. This is the information that this will take you over to CNFT Analytics. This is not our page. This is some other people who put this together, but they pull in these statistics from CNFT.io and Token.io, I know for sure. And there's different tabs here. You can see what was the last 24 hours, last week, last month, all time. There's also a whole host of things you can look at directly if you want to see, if you want to search for something distinct or whatever. Lots of good information here. So we have a link directly to that. Some of the really good podcasts. So there's NFT Update. Those are the Buffybot folks. They do a very good job. They're some of the people behind Project Cosmos. Maria Carmo, she's awesome. She does videos, really meant for Latin America, but of course covers people of the world as well. Very good podcast. Highly recommend checking her out. And then there's the Essential Cardano list. This is something maintained by the IOHK directly. You'll see it's in the IOHK GitHub. And this is a list of all the projects that they have felt are of quality and listed them here. It is a very extensive list, but pretty much anything and everything you're looking for should be listed here. If it's not here, you probably have to question why. Yeah, so very good stuff. Anyways, that's what you'll find at the menu. Let's talk a little bit about the calendar, and then I'll go into a little bit about how the multi-language support works. So the calendar, this is a place where anybody can add their drop. Now, we do have a couple of rules, and some of those rules are, we only allow you to list, the day you're dropping your event. Of course, your event may not finish on day one, may run for weeks or months or however long. Unfortunately, we can't have it showing at the calendar every single day because, everyone wants to have their project listed and shown. So, each event's only allowed one day. Unless it truly is a multi-day event, like, for example, Cardano Summit, 3-day event. It's on the calendar for 3 days. Also, no vulgarities. We're not extremely prudish, but we obviously cater to a very wide audience, so we need to keep content mostly clean. As long as it's not highly offensive, though, it's most likely not going to be a problem. So the first link is the drop update email. So if you click on this, you can then sign up for our newsletter. It goes out twice a week. It goes out on Sundays and Wednesdays, and anything that's listed on the hub ends up inside that email. Well, anything that's coming up in the short order will end up in that email. So if you are on our calendar, you list your event's in a couple of days, it'll show up on the Wednesday email. So it's awesome. Lots of people that may not have been aware of your event and didn't go to our page, in the meantime, will get an email that'll show your drop's happening. So very useful. And of course, sign up for it yourself. It's, it's always fun to know what's going on. I'm a huge NFT collector myself, beyond being an NFT creator. So different views for our calendar. There's the list view. It starts at the current date and then moves forward. So here's a list of some of the events. So you can see what was happening today, November 30th, and then tomorrow, December 1st, and December 2nd, December 3rd. A lot of people add their events towards the last minute, and it's probably not the best plan to do that because it doesn't allow for a lot of dissemination of your project. But a lot of people do as well. So these are ones that are coming up, and of course this calendar goes fairly far out into December and even stuff into next year. That's the list view. If you go to the month view, you can kind of get a wide overview of what's taking place this month. Now, I've cleaned up the calendar. I actually removed everything that was considered a past event. I did that because we were adding the newsletter functionality. So if you don't see your thing here and you had a drop listed, it's because it's probably been cleaned up. Not much point in having it there at this point since it's now a past event. But yeah, that's why this is so empty up to this point. But yeah, you can see quite a bit going on this month. You'll also see in here that we have the stuff being pulled in off of Meetup. So there's the Cardano for Climate weekly calls. There's the Catalyst town halls. There's the Eastern Time town halls. Catalyst Forum. So those also get aggregated into this calendar. So all very useful information. And of course, you could export this if you wanted. So for somebody else runs another calendar, you could export this and import it into your calendar. We're all for sharing our calendars because the more information everybody has, the better. Yeah, then you got day view if you just want to see what's taking place today. So if you were interested in what's going on right now, what drops are taking place today, you can click on the day view, and off you go. Here's the events taking place today. And then, yeah, okay, so those are the major views for the calendar. Of course, you could move over to them as well. You could find an event. The in locations are going to help you very much because these are all online, and so there's nothing really close or near or far. It's all the same. But you can search directly for an event, and then, of course, change your view right here. If you want to be added to the calendar, you can click on Add Your Drop. We take you to the list of the requirements that we have set out. Again, these are really just to keep the community safe. Really what we're looking for is people being respectful of other people. And since this is, again, it's a community resource and we want to make it available to as many people as possible, we want to make it so that people can access it. So we ask that you follow these guidelines. And then, of course, once you've read through these, you can click on Submit an Event. You'll need to create an account. I'm not going to log in right now because I have two-factor authentication and it's going to ask me to go through all that, so I won't deal with that. But the next screen would be, listing out the name of your event, put in a description. You could add pictures. You can put your policy ID if you're going to have royalties. Lots of good information. Of course, if we can click on some of these happening events, and you can see some of that. So let's see here, Moonimals. Yeah, they put quite a bit of information here. So this takes place today, November 30th. Looks like they're planning to list this for 150 ADA. I'm not sure why it says free to 150, but I'm assuming it's 150 ADA. Whatever graphics they chose to be like the main highlight for their project, and then the information they provided. And yeah, you could add this to your calendar. So there should be an option here. Yeah, right. So you could export this to Google Calendar or into iCal, whether you want to do it into your iPhone or into Outlook, whatever. So you could import these. If you were interested in this event, you could click on those, get those in your calendar, and you'll get alerts that it's taking place. Yeah, so that's what it would look like once you've submitted an event. And then, of course, add more exposure. So if you're interested in getting one of our little banner ads, obviously that is an option for everyone as well. If you click on that, it'll take you into our checkout store, and you can select which ones you want. Right now we have this mid-page banner and the top banner. Again, pretty light advertising, but yeah, obviously it costs a bit of money to keep this page maintained, between servers and electricity and all that fun stuff. Of course, if you want to go to our Twitter, you can click here, and that would take you directly to our Twitter account. Of course, I'm not logged in. I'm under my other account. But yeah, you can see all the different tweets that have happened, and of course, follow us there if you like. We tend to put a lot of information on our Twitter, so feel free to do that. If you want to search for something directly within the page, you can do that as well. Okay, so let me show you the multi-language support. So we were funded in Catalyst Fund 6, and distinctly to add multi-language support to this website, which we're really happy we've been able to do. We found an excellent service that essentially will draw in a copy of this page. If we add a new anything new to this website, it gets pulled in by them, and they create subsites. So right now, cfthub.io is the primary page, and that is in English. But if you click on the flags, which will bring up all the available languages, and there's 99 of them. It's a very extensive list. If you pick any one of these will take you to a subsite. So Russian, to me, it's the most foreign to English that I can really find. That and probably like Chinese, just written very, very differently. But you'll see it'll take you to a new page, ru.cfthub.io. And yeah, I mean, you can see everything's now been rewritten into the Russian language. If we click on these, the content will also be rewritten. Pretty much everything has been rewritten, everything except for pictures, of course, because pictures it's not going to be able to translate. But yeah, this should look very close to accurate in your native language. And of course, if you want to bookmark the page directly to the language that you prefer, you're certainly welcome to do that as well. Yeah, so this uses what's considered to be a neural, I forget what you call it, but artificial intelligence engine. If English, or sorry, not English, but if a human translates from one language to another, typically gets around an 8.5 out of 10. This engine gets an 8.3 out of 10. So it should be really, really close to as good a quality as if it's being translated by a human. And yeah, so again, 99 languages. Let's take a look at Japanese. That's again very different than English. And you can see the whole thing's been translated. At least to what can be translated has been translated. Yeah, so I'd actually be very curious to hear the feedback. Obviously, do not speak Russian or Japanese. I'd be very curious to know how good those native speakers feel about the conversion. But as far as I can tell, it's very, very close to accurate. Yeah, so that is the new multi-language support. Let me take it back to English just because it'll help me to navigate a little bit better. But if we go into the drop view, or the calendar view, so it's kind of the same thing. This is why we highly recommend everybody list their events here in the calendar. So if we go to, let's see, I'll just pick one that I know is going to have a lot of information. So if we go to Ada Army, yeah, they've got a pretty good write-up on what their event is going to be. So now if I change languages, so you can see it here in English. Let's do Afrikaans. Yeah, so I don't speak Afrikaans again, so I'm not 100% sure of the quality of this, but it looks to be pretty solid. If I reverse translate this from Afrikaans to English using Google Translate, it tends to come out very, very close. So yeah, as you can see, it does a pretty good job. And yeah, I don't think you're going to get much better service than what we found. If anybody knows of something, please let us know. But yeah, so we've made this now obviously available to people of every language, or at least those 99 languages, which should cover the majority of the human population. Yeah, we're looking, if anybody has recommendations, please let us know. Things you'd like to see on the hub, please let us know. This is a community resource, and we want to keep it that way. We want to make it as useful as possible to as many people as possible. So hopefully you found this to be interesting. Please like our Twitter, follow our page, and look out for some upcoming content. And yeah, I hope that we see you around the Cardano universe.